Ladies and gentlemen, hi. I say good morning because some people have sent me lots of messages saying, "Are you sure you got the time right? It's 10 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock in the evening," which is when I normally do all my webinars. So first of all, thank you for taking time out to listen this morning. I thought we would try something new because everyone's doing webinars in the evening, and I thought, well, what better way could we start the day by giving you guys some great knowledge. So first of all, would you mind just saying a quick hello? Let me know that you're logged in. You can hear me nice and loudly and clearly. That would be fantastic. Okay, so got Gurinder online. So good morning, Gurinder. Okay, morning guys. Hi Ulf. Hi Tony. Hi Jeff. And we could keep going on and on. Okay, so brilliant. Everyone can say that they can hear me nice, loudly and clearly. Great. So, why am I running this webinar tonight? Well, sorry, I keep saying tonight. Well, this morning, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about the secret HMO model that pretty much guarantees you that you can recycle your cash. And now, this is a big, well, I always say it's a big topic because there's very few strategies that you can actually do which allows you to get pretty much all your money back out. Especially when we're in turbulent times with regards to the financial markets. And that's something that we're going to be touching on today. So we're going to be going through quite a lot. We're going to be going through at quite a fast pace. So stay with me. If there are any questions, and I'm hoping that my presentation hasn't crashed. But never mind. Don't worry, we'll keep coming back. And this is part, let me just quickly. And this is part of being involved in property, that improvisation. So, like I said, today we've got a lot of content to get through. Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for trusting me with your time this morning as opposed to this evening. This is the most precious commodity, and I guarantee that this is going to be the best investment that you can make. So over the next 60 to 90 minutes, you're going to know exactly how to make £1,000 per month cash flow from every HMO that you own, and how to use a HMO model that guarantees that you can recycle your cash. Because today what we're going to be talking about is 3 different HMO models. And a lot of you online, well, we're going to have lots of people and we're going to ask a question in a second, and this might be a great time actually to ask it is, can you just type in the box as to where you are with regards to your HMO journey or your property journey? A, are you completely new to property? B, are you completely new to HMOs? Or C, are you new to property but new to, sorry, not new to property but new to HMOs? Or just let me know where you are. So if you could, that'd be fantastic. Just coming straight away, completely new to HMO. Okay, so we've got Tony online, he's got 15 years experience as a HMO landlord. Now it'd be interesting because obviously Tony seen the waves and the rides of the HMO market, so he understands all the different types. So it'd be interesting to see what Tony's thoughts are with regards to the presentation. And the reason why I say that is because he's predominantly, possibly, only ever known one HMO model. Now, what I hopefully do by the end of the 90 minutes is open your eyes to a completely new market, something that not many people have ever known about before. And it's, I don't know, we'll talk about it. I don't want to give away too much at the start. So why should you listen to me? Because I'm not saying that I've wrote a book called which is a best-selling book on Amazon called Boom, Bust and Back Again. You can find it on Amazon at $9.99 plus P&P. And a little bit of a background about me. So I've been involved in property for the last 16 years full time. So since the year 2000, when I left the University of Gloucestershire, I became full-time in property, and I've only ever known, I didn't get any other job, didn't go into the employment, I threw myself straight into property. And so you could say that I've earned my scars. I've seen the good, bad, and the ugly. I also am a franchisor of a letting agency called Rent Me Now, and we're looking to expand that across the country, and we've been running that for the last 8 years. I'm also a property investor, trainer, a mentor that has helped hundreds of people that are hungry for change to achieve financial freedom. And just to give you an example of this, And if I can ever find my phone. Now, I took on a group of 89 people this year. Um, 89 people this year just to coach them and mentor them. Sorry, when I said I took 89 people on, I took 40 on in February, and then I took another 49 on in June, and that's something called the Elite Property Tribe, which is completely separate. And I got a text, guys that joined in June, so you've got to remember June, July, August, so we're pretty much 2.5 months in. He goes, hi, I'm for you for pushing me. Expected to be unmuted on Thursday's webinar and to be accountable for my actions. Looking back on the week, I now have a new JV partner. Following a meeting I had on Thursday, he now wants to invest a significant amount of cash with me. I've just met another landlord and agreed another deal on a 5-bed HMO. This now takes me up to 5 properties in 2.5 months. I'm exhausted, but I've got some great results this week. Thanks again for pushing me, and to all the members who've supported me with my silly questions. Now, that person there was completely new to property, and within 2.5 months, he's managed to generate 5 deals, or he's got 5 deals signed, sealed, and delivered. So that's just a little bit about me and how I manage to mentor people, and I bring the best out in people. I think that's what my greatest quality is. I don't just look at you and I don't just think that you should all follow one formula. Everyone is different. Everyone has a completely different learning style. Therefore, I try and tap into what I think your best qualities are and get you to come out that way. So, I believe now is the perfect time to invest in property. And we've called it the perfect storm. Just because whoever thought that the interest rates was going to drop to a new record of 0.25%, 0.25%. And the reason why I call it a perfect storm is because now, as a result of the interest rate falling, all house prices started to fall as a result of a panic in the market, giving us a stagnating housing market. It's now again become a buyer's market. Before we had a seller's market, now we've got a buyer's market. So we're going to be talking about the opportunities involved, because I also think that now we've got the perfect opportunity to utilize other people's money. And the reason why I say that, and when I put out a lot of the Facebook posts and when I put out a lot of the marketing emails, and apologies if you did receive a lot of emails, but I wanted to make sure that you didn't miss the opportunity. And now I think that this is a perfect opportunity, because now previously when savers had their money in the bank, they were receiving not fantastic returns, but they were getting okay, or something that would keep them happy and keep their money in the bank. But at 0.25%, it actually means that it's not viable to keep the money in the account. It's not making them anywhere near what they thought it would be. Now, when we look at the German 2-year bond, it's giving them actually minus 0.63%, which means that every day you have owned this, you lose money, as opposed to the UK 2-year bonds, which is 0.13%. And believe it or not, that's less than actually leaving your money in the bank, because obviously the interest rate is 0.25%. So savings-wise, investors aren't getting their returns in the bank. That's the point that I'm trying to make. And when we also look at other savings mechanisms that banks have got, so for argument's sake, let's look at ISAs. They're only paying 1.4%, and the best 5-year fixed rate ISA is only paying 1.7%. And remember, the max that you can input in that is 15,240. And the question we've said is that now is the perfect time to approach them, to ask them, how can you make your money or even their money work harder for you than actually doing any work? So let's talk a little bit about some of the the falling house prices. And I'm not what I'm actually doing here today is I'm just going to quote some of the statistics, or some of the quotes that I've seen in some of the newspapers, or some of the broadsheets that I've seen, or even some of the online quotes that I've seen. So House prices in London lost £1,000 a day in July. £1,000 a day is approximately 5.6%, and the average house price across the country fell approximately 0.9%, which is just under 1%, giving the average house price now approximately £233,250. Now, according to the Telegraph, according to Adam Chalice of JLL, and according to KPMG, house prices are expected to fall 5% nationwide and tumble further in London. And our central expectations of price fall are expected to go between 3 and 5% in 2017 and 2018, which means that it's given us pretty much like a 2-year window of opportunity. So it's not a case of, okay, we've only got a month or so to deal with something. KPMG reckons that outside London, 5% or more, and possibly more in the capital. And so when we say it's a buyer's market, that's exactly what it is, because sellers now, technically speaking, we've got to have a look at where they've bought. Did they buy at the height of the market? Did they buy, at the previous crash when they bought below? They may now find we're getting a lot of opportunities, which are now going to, again, turn back into negative equity. Which means that we're now back in the same scenario as we were 2000, 2008, 2009. And so it has become a buyer's market. We are now in a position where we can generate a lot more opportunities, or a lot more strategic opportunities. And I'm more than happy for you. You're more than welcome to jump any questions if you like. So again, according to the estate agents, so we've got Hart estate agents, which are quite large in London, and we've got the economists at the French bank, who have all quoted that the average house price is going to drop, and average price in London, average London house dropped £30,000 in July, and the decline is one of the biggest on record they quoted. I'm not so sure about the economists at the French bank who've said that they expect a fall of around 30% in most London boroughs. That's quite a big ask, but if it does, that's going to be absolutely significant. Now, one place that I always look for when I'm looking for some form of statistics or some form of advice, I always go to RICS valuation, RICS department. So I always look at the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, and they've predicted that a slump in property transaction with its members which show more gloomy about prospects at any point since the late 1980s. And you've got to take that on board, because if RICS, if the chartered surveyors actually got this in their mind, you've now got to start thinking, well, goes out to a property, and the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors have predicted this. Guess what's going to happen to valuations when they go down to it? Because naturally, this information would have been passed down to the surveyors who are on the street every day. And they're going to say, well, guess what, guys? You know what? We think there's going to be a slump, so don't value it at the market value. Don't market it at the market value. We've got to think on the basis that for the next 3 or 5 years we're going to have a bit of a downfall, so they've got to be downvalued. So that's something that you've got to take into consideration. So moving on, stagnating housing market. Again, going back onto Halifax, going back to Guardian, what we're trying to suggest is that there's going to be a lot of doom and gloom in the market. So there's going to be signs that house price growth is slowing, with a deceleration in both the annual and quarterly rates have increased in the last few months. And home ownership in England is at the lowest level in 30 years as a result of the housing crisis. Which will grow. So the whole point of bringing down the interest rate was to hopefully try and get people away from saving into investing into property. Or sorry, we would say trying to get more people onto the property ladder. But as a result of bringing the interest rate down, they're also going to see a decrease in the prices, which is what they're after, which is hopefully going to help people onto the market. But also, in the same respect, it's also going to help investors like you who are savvy enough now to take advantage of this opportunity. Again, people like the Independent and also the surveyors from the Independent, they expect a sharp fall because of Brexit. And they also reported that house sales were down in June, and they're expected to drop by another 26% over the next 3 months, in the most negative reading since 1998. So as you can say, all the people who are reporting daily are reporting that we are going to be in a downfall market. Now, don't let this scare you, because when it's very easy to watch this. Okay, so Fiona's put that she's getting from my end, which is making it hard to hear. Can you just confirm? Can you just confirm, please, that everyone else can hear clearly? Because what it may be, Fiona, you may need to log out and log back in. It may be a slight issue. Okay. So if we are getting any sound issues, if you can let me know, that'd be great. Janet says that it's coming in and out. So again, I'm just having a quick look at the audio here, and the audio seems fine on my end. So it could be that you guys, okay, quite a few people, it's, okay, right, okay, a few people saying that we're getting bad sound. Okay, may have to bear with me, and what we'll try and do, we'll try and make it as good as can be. So let's get moving on, because we've talked about the bad news. Now here's the good news. When we get uncertainty, when there's uncertainty, chaos and fear, it gives us a huge opportunity for the savvy property investor, which means that falling prices and stagnating market equals bigger discounts. And the lower interest rates in history gives us a greater opportunity as savers are desperate for our help. And the reason why I say that, so have a look at it from this point of view. Let's try and put it in a simple term. So how falling prices, which means that it now gives us an opportunity, we get greater discounts. But if we can't afford to buy the property, how else do we do it? Where can we get the money from? Because previously, people in the who had their money in the bank probably thinking, well, you know what? No, I don't need to invest in property. My money's safe in somewhere like Barclays, and they give me a steady return. But as a result of the decrease in the interest rate, guess what? They're now earning less than what they were a couple of months ago. Now they may start to think, well, in actual fact, how can this work harder? So tonight, what we're going to be talking about is a proven cash flow model to replace our salary. And it's a guaranteed system to help you recycle your cash, which allows you to buy a property with someone else's money, or to buy multiple properties with one deposit. And we'll be talking about this now. Quite a few of you just having a quick read of some of these, saying that we've got a slight issue with sound, and I'm just having a quick look here, just to see how we can help with this. Okay, so I'm hoping this gets slightly better as we go along, so bear with me. The good news is this is recorded. Good news is that this is recorded, so I'm hoping that can get you the recording out, which is going to be slightly better than possibly some of the sound issues that some of you are experiencing. So again, apologies for that. So let's move on, because I've got a lot of great knowledge to share with you. Now, just before I go on, now, is there anyone that doesn't know anything about HMOs? Because, you know, let's get this off on the right foot, because if someone's only ever dealt with the single let market and they don't know much about the HMO, let's dispel all the myths about HMOs straight away. Because a typical cash flow, the reason why I say that is because a lot of people will have single lets across the country, and the average cash flow from a single let will be approximately £200 a month. But we haven't then taken into consideration any of the voids or maintenance issues, which will then give us zero profit. Now, I don't know about you, but when I look to get involved in property, I look to actually make money, and I want to generate cash flow. And the typical cash flow that I generate from a single HMO is no less than £1,000 a month. We've got HMOs that vary from a 4-bed HMO right up to a 23-bed HMO. And the 23-bed HMO is one that I always talk about, based in West Bromwich, and it now generates an income of £120,000 a year rental income, and the 4-bed HMO generates £20,000 a year in rental income. Now you've got to ask yourself, how many of these would you need to replace your salary on the basis that a HMO would generate £1,000 a month? If you could write in the box how many HMOs you think you would require, that would give us a small indication of where we are at the moment. Okay, so some people said 3, some people said between 5 and 6. Okay, so we've got 2, 2 3s, 5 and 6. So the average, okay, Marcus comes straight in and goes, I want 10. Okay, fair enough. Right. So what is HMO? So HMO is an abbreviation for house, or acronym for House of Multiple Occupancy. And the reason why I like HMOs is purely because, from a risk point of view, it should never ever stop you making money. And let's just go back to the point of a single let. Just imagine you're renting out a single let for £600 a month, which many of you may well be doing. Now, when it's occupied, it may be great. Okay, so the mortgage may be £300, you may be paying a management company, and then at the end of all that, you may be making a couple £100 profit. But then over a year, that may make you £2,400, which is okay for a single let. Problem: when the house becomes vacant, that property is no longer generating you any money, and it's actually costing you money, because then you've still got to pay your mortgage, your council tax, possibly standing charge for electricity, gas and water rates. Now, with a HMO, instead of having one family, you've got lots of individual people renting a room. So let's just imagine you've got a 4-bedroom property or 3-bedroom property with 2 reception rooms. Potentially you can rent out the first top 3 rooms and also 1 on the ground floor. And then you've got a communal lounge, a communal kitchen, communal bathroom, and you rent out each room. Now, if one tenant leaves, you've still got 3 other tenants in there. If 2 tenants leave, you've still got 2 other tenants in there. And technically speaking, it should still be covering your cost or your cost base. If all tenants are in there, you've got a very healthy and profitable HMO. And the benefits for both parties involved are simple. For tenants, it's the convenient bridge between a hotel and renting an entire house. For landlords, it's a massive high cash flow strategy that gives you a regular recurring income. And today, this morning, one of the key indicators we're going to be talking about is commercial finance. Now, there's quite a few people that have heard of commercial finance but don't know exactly how commercial finance works, because commercial finance, if used correctly, is the best tool that you can have in your toolbox as a property investor, because commercial finance is what it says on the tin. It's for commercial products, which means that it's not going to be, commercial finance isn't fit for something like a standard single let, purely because the rates will be too expensive. You'll get something slightly better on the high street through buy-to-let products. Saying that, if you've got a massive portfolio of single lets and it's now become a business, commercial finance may help you in the long term. So lots of ways of looking at commercial finance, and it could help you triple the value of your property in 6 months. Now, commercial finance, there's lots of benefits for commercial finance. With commercial finance, the 6 month rules generally doesn't come into play. So with a buy-to-let, you have to own it for 6 months and then potentially refinance. But even on a buy-to-let, lenders will still want to lend on its bricks and mortar value against its commercial valuation. Whereas on a commercial finance, they'll look at the bricks and mortar value, but what they're interested more so is the investment value, because they look at the product now not as bricks and mortar, they look at it as a business. Now, we're going to be talking about this because if you think you're just going to buy a property, you're going to throw some fire doors on, that's not going to substantiate to a commercial valuation. And so what we'll be looking at shortly is the model. And commercial finance helps you to pull out more than the original purchase price of the house when you remortgage. And it will allow you to get double the total money needed to buy the property. So generally speaking, you only need one deposit, because if you use that deposit wisely, invest it in a property, you can get it refinanced, get your money back out, go again, and go again, and go again. And I'll be talking to you about this. So here's an example. So this is a property that I own. I've bought, I've refurbed, I've rented, and I've refinanced. Refurb, rented, and refinanced. So the 3 R's in property. So here's a property in Wolverhampton. I purchased this property for £108,000. This was the picture of the property when I purchased it. As you can look, it's quite tired. It was a 4-bedroom semi-detached property in not a bad, well, it's in a decent location in Wolverhampton. Now, I spent £40,000 on the refurb, and the reason why I say that is because this property needed everything doing to it. So we took it back to bare brick. It did completely new damp-proof course. We rewired, we replastered. So it went under a full refurbishment project. Took a bit of time to do, but as a result of that, now it's producing £36,400. And the valuation that we had on this property in February 2015 was £364,000. Right, guys, because in order for me to purchase this property, I needed a total of £67,000, and the £67,000 was a makeup of 25% originally of the £108,000, which is £27,000, and the £40,000 for the refurb. So I needed £67,000, and as a result of that, I've now produced an asset which is producing £36,400, and as a result of a commercial valuation, as a result of the income that it's producing, I managed to get it valued at 10 times the rental income. 10 times the rental income was £364,000. Now you determine from there, and I'm going to get my calculator out. I'm going to get my calculator on the basis of 364,000 there. Let's say you lend 70 or 7, let's say 70% of that, which a lot of lenders would like. That means that I can now get anything up to 254,800. Now remember, I only put in, well, let's say 108 plus 40, 148, which means that technically speaking, I could get back the best part of £120,000. If my 148, sorry, about £106,000. Well, either way, it's in excess of £100,000. For property that I now own, I'm geared at 70% as opposed to 85%, which lots of investors try and do with buy-to-let. Or alternatively, you know, depending on where you are, technically speaking, you could just buy this property and get the amount that you spent on it, so 148, and still leave the money in the deal, and still leave the money in the property as equity. Now that's the smart way of investing, because it depends on where you are in your property journey. Now I have this conversation with lots of property investors up and down the country. I know a lot of investors would have bought this and then taken out all their cash and then gone and done it and done it again, done it again, and done it again. And the reason why they would have taken all the cash out is because, let's just say they use a JV partner for the first. Now, as a result of getting all the money back out, they don't need the JV investor for the second, third, and fourth, because they've managed to pull out enough money from this deal to go alone, instead of having to pay the JV investor further fees for other projects for money that they no longer require. Alternatively, the smart investor would do this: purchase a property with the JV investor's money, or get a bridge and utilize the JV partner to fund the deposit and the refurb, do the work refinance, and as a result of it now producing an income, you decide on the structure that you go with your JV partner. With your JV partner now, potentially you could say, well, we'll give you a percentage of the income, or we'll give you a percentage of the profit. You never know, you may decide to sell this. So there's a number of different avenues. So we've got a couple of questions. Which I'll go through in a second. And on the basis of that, now you can say to JV investor, well, your money plus a fee for lending it me, thank you very much. Now I'll keep all the income and we'll go forward. The JV investor may be happy with that because in and out, they've got no ties to the property. Alternatively, you could turn this into a business for the JV investor, where you can say, guys, I tell you what, as a result of you give me £67,000, which required, now you'll get, I don't know, let's say 25% of the income every year for the next however many years. So 25, 36 grand. Do a quick calculation. 0.25 is 9,100 a year. So now let's just say that there you earn it for the next 10 years. He's going to make 91 grand on the back of him lending you 67 grand. On the back of the refinance, you get that 67 back out. You use the 67 on the next project, on the next project, on the next project, and it's a win-win scenario. He's making money, you're making money, you're acquiring assets, and it's a win-win scenario. Now, I've got lots of people who have done this, and John's put the question straight away. He goes, "Why would you sell?" Now, not everyone wants to be a long-term landlord. Believe it or not, John, I know a number of people set these up and get it generating 36,400, get it valued up at 364 grand, throw it in the next auction. Believe it or not, investors up and down the country will lap these up. And the reason being is that this is not your traditional HMO model. And the reason why I'm going to go through this, now Stuart has asked a question. Let me just quickly check, Stuart, before I answer your question. Yes, I've answered your question here. So Stuart's put, surely, does this valuation not depend on the surveyor? Some of them refuse to value more than bricks and mortar value. Now, sure, I completely agree with you on that. Purely because if you've just bought a property and you've literally changed some doors and you've put in a fire alarm, you think, great, I've turned it into a HMO. Now, the way that you've got to look at it, I always look at things from 2 points of view. I look at it from my point of view as an investor, but I also look at it from the bank's point of view. Because I'm thinking now, let's just imagine that we've got two properties on the same street. Now, Stuart owns a property and I also own a property next door to each other. Now, Stuart's property is a standard single let or run as a family home. And let's say that may be worth, let's just say £200,000. And I've now come in with a property that I now consider HMO. When I say I consider HMO, I've changed the doors and I've put a fire alarm in and I've got 5 tenants living in there, and I now want this valued up at 364 grand. Now, for me, common sense says that the way that the bank perceives it is that if they think that they can turn this property, if I was to fall into trouble and I had to get the property, if the bank had to repossess the property, the way that the bank look at it is that how easy is it to turn a property back into a single let or back into a family home for them to recoup their funds? And the answer is, if it's very easy, is it if it's as simple as just changing the doors and taking out the fire alarm, it will be valued on its bricks and mortar valuation. Because a surveyor can only give you a commercial valuation if he thinks that what you've changed the use of a building from a residential property into a business. So if you buy a 3-bed terrace house and stick doors, door locks, fire doors, and emergency lighting, that's not going to suffice becoming a commercial entity. Now, George has put, do you not need to change the class of a property to get commercial surveyor to value it as a business? Not at all, because the HMO is still a residential property, but just lent on commercial terms. And I'll give you an example, I'm hoping. The question you've got to ask yourself is that, have you changed the use of the building? And you've got to ask yourself, what's the chance of you getting commercial finance? Are they 50-50 at best? And no, if you've only changed the fire doors, I would say that it's 90% chance that you're not going to get commercial valuation. And I see investors up and down the country, you know, speaking to lots of mortgage brokers, and I see them on forums every day of the week. Okay, I've just converted my property into HMO. I'm looking forward to getting all my money back. And when you start to question what work they've done, unfortunately, I just keep thinking, where have you learned this information? Because this information is going to get you into a lot of trouble, especially if you're expecting to recycle your cash. Because there's two things. Well, there's two things that you need to take into consideration. How much work have you done? How easy is it to convert back into a single let? If you can answer that your property is going to be converted back into a single let within a couple of weeks of work, it's going to be a bricks and mortar valuation. Now, one thing that we're going to be looking at today, well, it's 3 different HMO models. They're all bills inclusive, some bills inclusive, and no bills inclusive. And when I say that now, it's because the model that is going to get you your commercial valuation is the 3rd model, no bills inclusive. Now, I know it sounds daft, but okay, so here we go. So Mitz Patel is online. He goes, I'm a mortgage broker and I totally agree with what you have said. So fantastic, Mitch. Thank you for being online. Thank you for clarifying that. Because I speak to property investors every day and they say, Arsh, okay, we're gonna go off and get a valuation. It's gonna be between 7 times the income. And guess what? We're gonna be cash rich investors. When we look at their product, it doesn't stack up. So here we go. So the all bills inclusive model, we're going to look at the pros and cons. So the all bills inclusive model it's a great model. Now don't get me wrong, it's still a high cash flow strategy. Is it a sustainable model? I don't know personally. It's because it's great for the tenants. When I say that, because the tenant pays their rent, let's say that they pay between £300–400 a month. And it includes council tax, it includes water rates, it includes electricity, and it includes gas. It's bad for the landlord, because the reason why I say that, it's because it's impossible for them to budget what their cash flow is going to be for the year. Now, when you let the property to the tenants, you never know what their energy consumption is going to be. So for argument's sake, you can put your boiler on a timer, and you can arrange for it to come on 3 times a day, but you can't control that boiler. Because if a tenant seems that it's cold during the off periods, they have the right to put it back on. And I've been into a number of HMOs where you walk in and it is the warmest house on the whole street. But instead of turning the boiler off, all they do is they open a window or they open the doors. Has any of you guys online actually got a HMO like that, where you've walked in and it's absolute boiling? So Mitch Patel's coming straight away, goes, yep, got HMO exactly like that, where the heating is less constantly on. The reason why I say that is because you can't budget on that, because every month your gas bill is going to be sky high. You may have budgeted approximately between £300 and £400 for the utilities every month. Problem that you've got is that if the bill then comes in at the end of month 3 on a quarterly basis, and then the gas bill has gone through the roof, that's just come straight out of your cash flow. Hasn't come out of anywhere else. And you can't go back to the tenants and say, well, guys, okay, we've got to increase utility bill, because your rent is already inclusive. So it's impossible for you to budget. So Tony's put many times. Yep, hot and cold tenants in the same house. It's put Inspire Heating Control can control the temperature online, but it involves monitoring the anti-remote thermostat operated by iPhone. Now, these are all great gadgets, guys, but unfortunately, guess what? 100% by the law, because you can't seem to be controlling someone else's heating, especially externally or internally. So I wouldn't, you know, guys, with the best interest or your interest at heart, you can't have that. Now, George has put in, could you put in a fair usage policy against the law to put in a fair usage scheme into your contracts? So anything extra is shared by the tenants. The problem that you've got there, George, is that there's going to be a massive conflict of interest. Now, for argument's sake, let's just imagine that you've got 5 tenants in. Now, George walks in and says, guys, okay, we've got a slight problem where we've got an increased bill, and there's another £100 per month that I now need to share between you guys. Tenant A is going to say, okay, yeah, you know, I'll put my hands up. I had a bit of extra heating on that month. Tenant B goes, well, I've been with my girlfriend. I haven't actually been here this month. Tenant C says, well, I didn't split. I don't use anything. Tenant D goes, well, Tenant D stays quiet. Tenant E has got something to say about it. Now, are you going to now create that conflict within the property for the sake of £100? Now, and not only that, what happens if they refuse to pay it? You can't enforce that extra charge on them, because if they've paid their rent, they've actually just paid for their liability of the property. Their liability on that property is the rent, not the utilities, because if you put in there that the utilities is included in the rent, there's nothing that you can do about that. So moving on. So that's the bills all-inclusive model. Now, we're going to go straight into the no bills included, and this is my strategy. And I started this approximately 16 years ago, and I've been running this for I've been running it for 16 years, and I've never had an issue. And the reason why I like the no bills included model is because it's simple. I've got very simple philosophy to life, to tenants. If they want to use it, they have to pay for it. Exactly the same as my house, which I'm living in, where I'm broadcasting from right now. Is that if I turn the central heating on, I know I'm paying for it. If I put on the TV, I know that my electric's going to cost more. And the reason why I've done that, my model is very much stemmed student background. When I was at Gloucestershire, I was sick of seeing these bills. I was sick of having the arguments with other students in the property. And we'll talk about the other model shortly. Now, it's easy for the landlord to budget, because once the landlord has paid his mortgage and possibly a communal lighting charge, there's no other bills to pay, come rain, sleet or shine, regardless of how hot or how cold it is outside. Therefore, the tenant then has some form of financial responsibility to see. Tenant only has to pay their own flat for their own flat for half the price, and not only that, it's commercially guaranteed to get you your money back out. You're 100% guaranteed. Now, John Paul, does this only work with LHA or LHA tenants? No, it doesn't, John, because guess what, guys? I've got hundreds of tenants who all, again, working. Well, we've got professionals, we've got workers. We never touch students. I don't know why. I don't know enough about the market to go into the student market. And then we've got a lot of LHA tenants. Guess what? Believe it or not, we find that it works extremely well for workers as well, because we like the fact that they like the fact that they're knowing that they've got their own space, and we'll go into that in a second. Now, remember what we talked about financially, getting the commercial valuation. Now, going back to the scenario where Stuart had the same property next door to me. Difference between mine and Stuart's. Now, Stuart's got the house that's going to be worth 200,000. Now, my property is going to be valued up at 364,000, and the reason being is simple. Now, how do I get all the tenants to pay the bills? I don't try and share the bill out. I strip out all the gas from the property. That's right, guys, you heard it. I strip out all the gas from the property, which means that there's no gas supply, no central heating, and everything is now becoming electric, which means that everyone's got their own electricity meter. Now, straight away, Now, Mitz, who's online, who's a mortgage broker, and admittedly, I don't think we've ever met. We've never met. I don't think we've ever met. So, if Stuart's got his property that's on £200,000 and mine's now been valued at 364,000, straight away I can argue, or I can even demonstrate to the surveyor why my property is worth a lot more. Because next door's only got one electricity meter. Next door's only got one gas meter. Guess what? In my 7-bed HMO, I've got 6 electricity meters for 6, possibly 1 for the landlord supplies. I've got 7 electricity meters. How easy is it for me to convert my property back into a single let? It's pretty much impossible, because I've now got to go through the same refurb project to rewire the whole house back to a standard single meter. It's impossible. So do you see the reason straight away why I'm getting commercial valuations? Not only that, with my no bills included model, I give every room their own ensuite. And the reason why I've been that, and now going back to the commercial finance route, is that Stuart's property as a single let may only have 1 bathroom and 1 kitchen. Now, my property has got 6 ensuites. How easy would it be to convert back into a single let? It's impossible. So, Dr. Abdul, thank you for being online. He goes, do you put electricity meters in every house or every room? Every room has their own meter. And so what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about this shortly. And that's the reason why I managed to get commercial finance. And it's guaranteed that I'm going to get commercial finance, because pretty much we're too sophisticated for buy-to-let lender to look at. And we've got the ability to build our portfolio quicker, because we get it refinanced, we get our money back out, we go to the next project, next project, next project, next project, next project. So we're going to be, I'll be showing you. Mitzport would, okay, so Mitz, who's the broker, he goes, yes, it will be viewed as a commercial property on this basis. So Mitz, it'd be interesting, because I'd like to meet you if possible. Right, so if you wouldn't mind, Mitch, sending me an email after with your mobile number, and we'll have a chat tomorrow. Okay, so keep moving on. And this model really stemmed from me being a student at university, because I hated having to split the bills with tenants, because I was never there on the weekends. I always used to come back and either see my parents, used to go out and see other friends. And I always used to get the bills, well, we always used to get the bills, and I would have to stump up for other people's consumption. And not only that, I was sick to death of going into the bathroom after other students had been in it, purely because I would spend half an hour, you could call it OCD if you like, I'd spend half an hour on cleaning up other people's mess. Now, as a student, I wanted to literally just, and as a result of that, after year 1, I decided then to live on my own in year 2 and year 3. I got a 1-bedroom flat in Cheltenham. And as a result of that, I decided that I knew what HMO I wanted to create. Every room's got it's like tea making facility and its own ensuite. And the reason why that can now get generated on its commercial ability, it allows you to, well, because it's got its own electricity meters, it's got its own ensuites, and possibly a tea making facility. And just imagine now, using other people's money. If you can go to an investor now, here we go, guys, here's how your spiel would go. So just imagine that you're the property investor. I've got this ability. So I said, guys, okay, my name's Arsh. She goes, I've got this opportunity where I could turn a property into a high cash flow generating machine, and also allow you to get your money back out within 6 months on a commercial valuation facility. And as a result of that, not only will I give you some interest for lending me the money, but I'll potentially even give you an equity stake or a percentage of the income from the property going forward. How does that sound? Now, if the property is generating 36,000, let's say that I give you 20, I'm going to give you your 46,000 that you originally invested, plus, let's say, 10% for your problems, so 10% for your trouble. So you're going to get, another 6,000 for your trouble. Plus, you're going to get 9,000 a year for as long as I own it, which is 10% of the property income. Sorry, 25% of the property income going forward. So not only has he made his money back, he's got interest for his money, which he lent you, which is more than what he would have generated in the bank. Plus, he's getting a percentage of your profits moving forward. As a result of that, he's going to then potentially say, but you could put caveats in there, on the basis that you get all your money back out, you then lend it me for project 2, project 3, project 4, project 5, project 50. And once you've got one, you keep moving forward, and you keep moving forward, and you keep moving forward. So, putting it all together, you buy a house, you convert it using the Arsh HMO model. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people that have gone off and done this, who I've trained over the years, who have renamed it the Arsh HMO model, we fill it with tenants and we get commercial valuation. Now, I can actually help you with all this, because what I'm going to be showing you tonight is exactly, well, when I say tonight, this morning, is how to do it or put it all together. So you buy a house, you buy a 3-bed mid-terrace property, just like you're looking for a single let. One thing that you need to look for is a property with large rooms, because if you want to buy BMV, you may want to buy it below market value. But personally, should let you into a little secret, guys. If you know that you're going to be making money out on the back end, buying BMV isn't really the best way of going about it anymore. Now, for argument's sake, that property that I bought for 108,000, he actually wanted 102,000 for it. I got into a bit of a bidding war and actually paying 108. Do you reckon I minded paying 108 grand for that property? Because I knew exactly what I was going to do with it. I knew I was going to get my money out on the back end. So spending an additional 6 grand. Now, if I saw a property that's on the market and it's perfect for exactly what I wanted, yes, I would try putting in a BMV offer, because that's naturally, admittedly, something that's very natural to me, trying to pay something a lot less for it. But alternatively, if they say, sorry, Arsh, okay, it's on the market for 100 grand, this guy wants circa 100 grand for it, I'm going to say, okay, I'll give you 100 grand for it, because I know that it's going to value upon its commercial valuation on the basis of what we're going to be doing. So buying BMV isn't essential anymore. So here we go, guys. Here's one of my properties. This is before we put all the cupboards on the outside. So there's no gas. There's electricity meters in every room. We've got en-suites in every room. Not every room has a kitchenette, or, you know, we have a toss-up between kitchenettes and en-suites. And we move forward. Now, what's the benefit for the tenants? Technically speaking, they've got their own space, so they're not having to clean up after themselves for half the price of what it would be for owning a flat. Now, here's another property, again in Wolverhampton, and I take people around these properties all the time, and we've got a number of questions keep flooding in, so don't worry, guys, I'll answer these questions as we move along. So this is another property in Wolverhampton. Purchase price of 102,000. We spent 4.5 grand on a basic refurb. Guess what, guys? This property was pretty much partly refurbed, and it was on the market for 12 months with an estate agent, and no one touched it. No one could see the vision. Because what you need to be involved in property, you've got to have vision. You've got to have the you've got to be able to have a look at it and think, well, what is it now? What can it become? And what will it be worth in the future? So I spent 4.5 grand now on the property. It now produces £2,210, which is just over £26,500. And it gave me a commercial valuation just over 265 grand, which meant that I could potentially, get back just short of 200 grand. It's crazy when you start to look at it like that. So keep moving on. So I'm going to take this opportunity now, because there's lots of questions coming in by Sarge and Tony, so we'll keep moving on. Because what we're going to do, actually, I'm going to mention something to you called the HMO BOOTCAMP workshop, which is something And it's the first, well, when I say it's the first, there's lots of people running HMO workshops, and they'll teach you this traditional method as to how to take a property, how to convert it in, put a fire door on, and put a fire alarm in, and potentially get commercial valuation. But that's not guaranteed. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm running a HMO workshop on the 10th and 11th of September, and it's the only HMO course to give you both the academic classroom and the practical knowledge that you need to confidently take action the very next day. How to set up a HMO just by following this simple checklist and the 3 fundamental HMO models which allow you to maximize your cash flow for any property and any property type. And we'll be showing you how simple and how the low cost changes of the floor plan will dramatically increase your cash flow and give you the complete understanding of the legal, safety and amenity obligations and how to easily keep the council on your side. And that's a big part of it, because obviously you're going to make sure that you work with the council. Now, every council, some people have asked questions about room sizes, etc. Every council has got something called the Amenity Standards Guide on their website. So what you need to have a look at is have a look at their size guides, and that will give you a rough indication as what kind of room sizes that you require to get to create a property like this. Alternatively, you can come and work with one of my architects. Now, on the workshop, we've got specialist guest talk. So we've got the HMO architect, who's the guy that helps me get all my plans approved. Now, I've been working with this guy for 16 years, and we've never had a refusal. So it shows you the kind of level. Now, there are architects up and down the country, and I don't deny that there are a lot of great architects. Do they understand the model? No, they don't. Because if you try and suggest to them off this webinar that this is what we want to do, I can pretty much guarantee they're going to draw you a product that's going to get you refusal after refusal after refusal. And I see it day in, day out. People saying, well, Arsh, okay, off the back of one of your webinars, we've gone off and we've shown this to architects. Here's what they've come back with. Can you advise that this is going to help us? And I have to say, sorry, you've just wasted your money with that person. So we've got a HMO architect. We've got a commercial finance expert who does our commercial broking for us pretty much on a daily basis. He's going to be talking about how to pull out all of your money out of the deal. I'm even potentially going to ask Mitt if he decides to, well, when we speak, to come and have a chat with you as well. And then not only that, we've got a property tax expert showing you how to make HMRC fund your next HMO. Because the refurb, you can reclaim a lot of your work done from HMRC. So we've got 3 specialists who are off the radar completely. They don't go on forums or anything like that. These are my guys who are my power team that I've built up over 16 years, who I use on a day-to-day basis that you'll get to meet. You'll gain the rock-solid confidence to set up and profit from HMOs the very next day, thanks to our proven system and the academic and practical understanding what needs to be done and how to do it. And remember, you guys said how many HMOs you require. Now, working on the basis that a property generates £1,000. Now, for argument's sake, if you had a HMO that produced £120,000 a year, and the annual income of that, well, net income of that is £80,000, how many of those HMOs do you require? Now, the beauty about this HMO bootcamp is that day one, we spend the whole day out looking at my properties. That's why it has to be held in Wolverhampton. We spend the whole day out looking at properties. So we get to touch it, we get to feel it, we get to meet my tenants, we get to play some games, get to play the benefit or the worker game. And not only that, we go through the legalities, we get the floor plans out, we start to look at it, we start to say, well, here's what it was before, here's what it is now, here's what it was valued at previously, here what it's valued at today. And then on the Sunday, we spend the whole day in a workshop style, a classroom style environment where we've got the 3 speakers, plus we've got my business partner, Arsh Ellahi, who does a talk on how we screen our tenants so that we've got a 100% rent collection record and a very high 98% occupancy rate. So not only are we showing you how to set it up, we're also showing you how to manage it moving forward, moving on. Okay, so Marilyn's asked a very good question, which I'll answer in a second because it's a great question. Now, we're going to show you how to get HMRC to fund your next HMO. And this is possible because when you know what the insider secrets are, what to put on your tax return, it's going to show you what you can get, what you can pull back out from HMRC. Now, one of the secrets is that you can actually pay 5% VAT instead of 20% VAT. And there's a high tenant turnover with HMOs, right? Well, I believe that's wrong because providing that you've got the right tenant in there, you'll discover how to make your tenants want to stay in your room for years. Now, I've got lots of HMO. I've got lots of tenants in my HMOs that have been with me since, well, you've got to remember, I've been involved in property for near enough. I'm 35 years old. I've been involved in property for about 31 years. Now, the story was that my father had a small portfolio of properties. So ever since I've known to walk, I've known no other way other than to be around HMOs and be involved around property. And this is where my knowledge has developed from. So it's not just being involved in 16 years. I've been learning this for the whole of my life. I've seen it involved from single lets to flats to coin meters to token meters to electricity meters to all these strategies that have been involved. And I've picked holes in all of them. So how to make a HMO? No more work to manage than a single let. And the trick to this is to find the difference between the time freedom that comes with passive income as opposed to creating another job for yourself. And I'm a big fan of this because obviously my 23-bed HMO, now that admittedly is all filled with benefit tenants. Now, just out of curiosity, how long do you reckon it takes for me to manage that property? Do you think, what do you reckon, about out of a week? Do you reckon 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days? What do you reckon it's a full-time concern? Shall I let you into a little secret? It takes me about an hour a week. It takes me an hour a week to manage a 23-bed HMO. My 4-bed HMOs, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9-bed HMOs pretty much run themselves. So I'll be showing you how you can do that too. And you can discover how you can profit from both capital growth and monthly cash flow, because that's a key. You know, money on the cash flow, but you're going to make money on the capital appreciation. When we talk about capital appreciation, we talk about the commercial valuation. So you're going to see how the current market uncertainty makes the best time to get involved in HMOs. The savvy investor will make fortunes whilst the uninformed will shy away from the risk. People will batten down their hatches and say, well, we're not doing anything involved in property now. I'm moving forward, moving on, and we're doing so many deals as a result of the uncertainty. And this is a part that I like. I get to sleep well at night knowing that my HMOs are set up at the highest fire safety standards. As I move quickly from 5 to 20 to 50 tenants, you'll be thankful that you set up your HMO correctly in the first place. And the commercial lending, admittedly, is where the big dogs play. You can only get so far on buy-to-lets and high street products. But not only that, you can join in on this experience-only group by getting access to my power team. So again, you'll be meeting my architect, you'll be meeting my broker, and you'll be meeting the guy that helps me get all my get near if we claim majority of my VAT back through HMRC. If you go onto my website, you'll notice that it's on for 1997. It's on the 10th and the 11th of September. So it's a weekend. You're going to come to Wolverhampton. You're going to get to see my operation. You're going to get to see my setup. You're going to get to see my properties. You're going to get to see that we don't run slum HMOs. Now, people assume that if I'm housing to people on benefits, we're going to throw them in any squalor. Guess what, guys? We've got some fantastic HMOs. And believe it or not, Fiona's put, can this be done via rent to rent also? Yes, it can, Fiona. If you want my honest answer, because of the level of refurb, would I suggest it? Possibly not. Because remember, on a rent to rent, you don't own the property. So you're not technically going to be able to refinance on that property to get your money back out. So it's going to be very capital intensive for you to do it on rent to rent basis. Admittedly, that's my personal and honest opinion. But yes, it can be done you've got to get landlord's consent that he's going to be happy for you to do this level of work, because it's not a case of just putting in a stud wall and changing a door. But yes, it is possible. Now, you can book. What we're doing is that you can have the whole workshop, so the whole weekend, so for 997 plus VAT, and you can bring your business partner for free. So that's 2 people for a whole weekend for 997, which is the best value HMO course in the country. And just so that you know, here's some of the people. So here's Colin. I don't know if many of you know Colin McNulty. So Colin said, I attended Arsh and his brother's Aki HMO course a couple of years ago. It's like looking through a window to another world. Hot off the course, I bought a house and followed their HMO conversion model exactly. Exactly. It's been running up. It's been up and running for 2 years, and now it's very profitable. Now, I don't know anyone. Well, these 2 girls have done exceptionally well. So these 2 are based down towards Bournemouth. Sorry, Brighton. I think it is Brighton. It is, yes. They attended my HMO workshop in Feb 14. Now, they've now gone off to create 9 HMOs. And they said that the workshop was a key turning point for them, which made them one of the highest earners in the PIN Academy that year. Following the course, Arsh supported us immensely afterwards, which we truly appreciated. And that's a key point as well, because following the workshop, you actually will be added into a Facebook group, which not only that, you've got direct contact to me that you can literally pick up the phone to ask any questions. So I'm always happy to help. And for those that have helped, for those that know me will know that I'm always happy to help. So going through, we'll be talking about the legal safety and the amenity obligations. Again, you'll be meeting all our guys, so the HMO architect, the commercial finance expert, and the property tax expert. And we'll be showing you how you can retire on a cash flow from just 4 properties, from standing start in a year, just up to just working weekends. And we'll be showing you how HMRC can help fund your next HMO, and how to maintain tenants remaining in your properties, and how to make it easy to manage. So again, it's 997 plus VAT, and you can bring your business partner for free. And here's what I'm going to do, guys, because I'm so confident that you're going to take in so much knowledge from the workshop, is that I'm going to give you 100% money back guarantee, so that if you buy the course today, you risk nothing, because you're covered by our 100% money back guarantee. And here's how it works. Attend the first day of the workshop, and if you're not completely satisfied or utterly satisfied, then all you have to do is say so, and I'll give you a full refund. No questions asked, no hassles, no problem at all. Now, what you do from here on is completely up to you, because what happens if you do nothing? You don't have to worry about learning something new. You don't have to worry about taking any action. You don't have to worry about getting out of your comfort zone. But that also means that your life will not change. Your frustrations at work will remain. You still have to suffer through the commute every day, and you'll have to still accept that you're limited on your choices. But don't you owe it to yourself to give it a try, because what you can do is learn the secrets at no risk to you at all. You grab this at half price today. You profit from the perfect storm opportunity, and all you have to do is click the link below. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that link up there, because a couple of people said, well, when is it again? So it's actually on the 10th and the 11th. 10th and the 11th of September. Now, Amanda said, Arsh, unfortunately, we're away on that date in September. Now, here's what we're going to do, Amanda. I'm actually filming the workshop as well. So we're going to be filming the workshop, and anyone that wants to book it can actually have a copy of the filmed version. And not only that, you can come on the next HMO one, which I'm thinking is going to be in November for free. So not only do you get the recording so that you can implement it straight away when you come back off holiday, but you also get the you also get to come on the next workshop for free. So Amanda, don't let that put you off. Right, okay, so So Fiona put, where's the venue for this? So the venue, we start off at my office. So I'll be telling everyone where my office is for those that join. It's based in Wolverhampton. So for those that come in from London, we've travelled. You can get the train down from Houston straight into London, which takes about 2 hours. And then on the Sunday we start at 10 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. Just to allow people to get the commute back in. And like I say, on the Saturday we go around the properties, and you get to take photos. You get to see it all happen live. You get to meet my tenants. You get to see what kind of tenants we've got. You get to see how they live. You get to see the makeup of the property. You get to see the floor plans of the property. You get to see how we've funded the property. So, okay, so Tony says that unfortunately he's in the USA. Then Tony, the same applies, my friend. If you're interested, I'll get you the recording of the 2 days within the same week, hopefully. And then from there on, if you want to, you can then come on the next workshop, but it doesn't stop you from starting straight away. More importantly, it doesn't stop you from giving access to the power team straight away. So you've got the architect, the HMO finance specialist, and also our tax specialist. So hopefully that's of interest to you. Right, so John puts, will you show how to get finance to start with? Yes, John, because believe it or not, we've got a number of strategies, and one thing that we're actually looking at, believe it or not, there's so many ways to get funded. So you can use your own funds, you can use bridging finance, you can use potentially development finance, you can use JV finance, you can use crowdfunding. John, there's so many ways, but what we'll do, we'll go through those in great detail. In actual fact, what I might actually do, see if I can get someone that talks on crowdfunding to join us on that weekend as well, because that will be a phenomenal way to get you started, John. So fear not, my friend, there's lots of ways to get involved, but once you've seen the opportunity, only then can you project that opportunity onto your new investors. Here's the project, here's how much we need to pay for it, here's how much needs to be spent on it, here's what we're going to create. On the back of that, here's what the valuation is going to be, here's how you're going to get your money out, here's how much is what you're going to earn, and here's what I'm going to give you in return. When you break it down in that format, guess what? Everyone's going to be willing to throw money at you. People have got money to spend with you, believe it or not, John. But what people lack is information. So for argument's sake, if you came to me and said, Arsh, I've got HMO, I want to set up my HMO, and I was sit there thinking, yawn, what's your HMO going to do that the previous person that asked me for money isn't going to do? Because what you're going to say is, Arsh, I've got this HMO, it's a phenomenal opportunity. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to buy the property, then we're going to convert it. This is what it's going to create. This is how much it's going to generate. This is how much money you're going to make. This is how we're going to get your money out, and here's how we're going to go forward. And as a result, this is what I'm going to give you. So, okay, so Jeff put, for travel purposes, what are the start and end time? So on the Saturday, it's 9 till 5. Sometimes we go on to 6, depending on how many questions you guys have got asked. And then on the Sunday, we start at 10, finish at 5. So it is 9 till 5 Saturday, 10 till 5 on Sunday. And the reason why we start at 10 on Sunday is just purely because some people commute back and forth to London on train, and the train comes in at just before 10 on the Sunday. So hopefully that helps, Jeff. So Tony put, will this HMO strategy work in any area where 3-bed properties are valued at 350 grand? Okay, so it works at 350,000. Now, what would the rental income be for a room and also a studio in that location? So I need a bit more information, Tony. So what might be worth doing, Tony? Give me a call tomorrow, and we'll pretty much have a quick look at this. So just quickly go through a question. So Ali has put, Arsh, are the electric meters coin operated? No. Reason being is coin operated meters are bloody time intensive. And not only that, I don't know about you guys, but I'll be completely honest, coin operated meters, as far as I'm concerned, they're pretty much like a piggy bank on the wall. So a tenant keeps putting in a pound, a pound, a pound. I don't know, well, you get the best tenants possible. But let's just say that you get one bad tenant and they're short on cash one week. They decide that that piggy bank on the wall is their next getting some form of cash. They'll take that off the wall. Not only that, they'll potentially kill themselves in the meanwhile. So there's, you know, I don't have involvement with the electricity, the supply of the electricity, or the payment of electricity. I don't want to be involved in that because that would be too time consuming. So just going back to some of the questions. So let's quickly go through some of the questions. Okay. Okay, so Grindelport, do you have to have existing buy-to-lets in your own name or experience to acquire commercial finance? Now, Grinda, admittedly, what you need to do to show to show some form of experience is that you need to own a property for a short while or show them that you've been able to run it. Now, the best way of doing this is the best way that we've described it. You buy the property first, you run it for a short while, and then go off and get its commercial finance and ability. Okay, so Janice, if the market is going down, won't the commercial refinance be cautious about how valuing above the bricks and mortar value? How can you protect against this happening, please? Jane, remember, the one thing that you've got to look at is the model that we've created is pretty much incomparable to rent valuing against a single let. Yes, it may go down slightly in value, but because of the increase in value that you've generated, it's still going to be well above the bricks and mortar valuation. They can't value it on bricks and mortar because it's pretty much like comparing a supermarket against a hospital. Completely incomparable. And I've had this argument with surveyor before, and he goes, "Oh, okay, fair enough. I'll get your point." They have to work on, not only that, I've had this chat with our Lloyd's bank manager. Our Lloyd's bank manager, our Lloyd's relationship manager actually came out and spent a whole day walking around my properties with me because I wanted him to become familiar and comfortable with the model. And he goes, "Arsh, I've got no problem with that." He goes, "I've got no problem with the product that you've created. You've gone well and above in excess of what we would need for it to be commercially valued." And that's why I get commercial valuation. And that's the head of finance that did that for me on my HMOs. Okay, so I've pretty much gone through the questions. So just to convert. So okay, so like I think I've gone through. On average, each room costs around between £5 and £7.5 to convert. So John has put, does that mean that you put in three-phase electricity? Yes, we do put in three-phase electricity. Okay. Okay. So Marilyn has put in here, she goes, what happens with the property if the bottom drops out of the HMO market? Now, the beauty of it is, Marilyn, is yes, there are lots of HMOs, and yes, there are lots of different types of HMOs. The beauty of my HMO is that it's pretty much, you know, if you're offering and you're offering good style of accommodation, you're going to be heads and tails above the rest. But more importantly, you've got to remember all these people have got to live somewhere. Now look at all the HMO country. How many people live in HMOs? What's going to happen with these? Where are they going to live? They've all got to live somewhere, but not only that, you've got to remember, HMOs are an affordable method of accommodation. The model will always remain there. You've got now. I don't know about you, Marilyn, but I've been involved in HMOs for 34 years. I've seen the market do all kinds of things in that term and period. I've never seen the bottom fall out of the HMO market. We've remained at a very high 98% occupancy through boom, bust, and back again, which is a title on the book. So Leah's put, Sarge has put, what about council tax? I want all my rooms to be banded separately. The reason why I do that is because it removes the liability away from me. So just go through the questions. Uh, Sorry, okay. So George has put, do you put en suites in every room? What about the single room that most three bedders come with? Okay, so George, I try and put an en suite in every room, but in every house is also going to be one bathroom. You don't have to. I've also got something called an off suite. So technically speaking, if you put an en suite in most of the rooms and then you allocate that bathroom to the smallest room, so you don't make their room any smaller. Uh, okay, so Fiona's put, how many HMOs to go in financial freedom, as in free from bills, etc.? Technically speaking, Fiona, you don't pay any bills on any of my HMOs anyway. So I'm hoping that helps. So the one thing that you've got to calculate is what you consider your monthly, what's a figure that you're looking to achieve. Do a minimum calculation of £1,000 a month as a cash flow figure, and you determine how many properties that's going to require. So what kind of price do you charge per room per month without bills in your area? Okay, so Courtney's asked what do we charge? We charge on average around £430 a month, which is £100. Um, so just quickly going through. Okay, so Alice put, I live in London. Would I be able to do this with the Midlands or the North? I don't see why not, Ali, because this is operating all around the country. I've had people, I've shown you people in Manchester, shown you people in Brighton. I've got people right up in Scotland, and I've got people right down on the coast and everywhere in between. So I don't understand why not. Okay, so Jane put, do you have washing machines and dryers in separate rooms? Do you have any type of communal areas, or is the space rentable rooms? I try and keep communal areas to a minimum. If they want washing machines and dryers, I will put the facilities for them to put it in their rooms, because obviously, if if you put a washing machine in a communal space, technically speaking, you're paying for that. Whereas if you put it in their room, if they want it on, they will they will be a little bit more conservative with what they use it for. Okay, so Tony, what about Article 4 direction? Naturally, Article 4 is an area where if you're in an Article 4 area, you'll require planning permission for stop. So you will require planning permission. Whether you get planning permission or not is very much dependent on your location, but that's what my architect will assist you with. Marilyn puts, do I ever put white goods into each room? Depends. It varies from HMO to HMO. So quickly going through some of the questions. A lot of the questions are very generic. So Tony's put, what about water rates, Wi-Fi cleaners, gardeners bill? So I never supply Wi-Fi, admittedly, Tony. So tenants all work off their 3G. I do supply cleaners that do the communal areas only. The water rates are separately billed to each of the tenants. The gardeners bills again is something communal, so that's something that I would pay. Uh, Okay, so Clive says, does advertising bills not included put off tenants, as most of Liverpool say bills included? Admittedly, Clive, you're not going to always suit every market. Now, if it's simply after bills included, they're not going to be your client group. But the way that you can spell it out is that, you've got to sell the benefit of your property. You've got to sell the benefit. If they live in all bills included, they're going to have to share the kitchen and the bathroom. Now, what you've got to do is spell the fact that they've got their own brand new ensuite, no sharing with anyone, and as a result of that, they're going to be able to, not have to wait, not have to clean up after anyone, and you're going to have to spell the fact that they've got a lot of their own facilities there. How much put? What? Sorry, Raj put. after weekend support via email, phone from you. So you'll always have my phone number. You're more than welcome to pick up the phone to me, give me a quick call. We've got the Facebook group. We'll even possibly set up a mini WhatsApp group. So, you know, there's lots of support from me and my office afterwards. This would not work in Milton Keynes. Milton Keynes is a very tough Article 4 area. You could put in planning permission. Whether it gets approved with Article 4 areas, that's one thing that you need to take into consideration, that planning permission is required. And that's not just any, and Tony put, clients want bills paid. I disagree with you there, Tony, because Milton Keynes is a massive market. Is a massive market, and not only that, you're sitting on the commuter belt of London because you're just on the cusp. You know, the train journey into London, and believe it or not, they'll come for cheaper rents. But if you can show them a quality of accommodation, I completely disagree that, you know, it won't work on the basis of that. If anything, it won't work in Milton Keynes just as a result of Article 4, but as a result of them, because pretty much what you're offering them is almost like a mini apartment. So, guys, hopefully that's pretty much answered the majority of the questions. I am about for most of the day, so what I am going to do is quickly say thank you for taking the time to be on the webinar. More millionaires will be made in the recession than any other time. It's of my hope that you'll be one of the property millionaires made in the post-Brexit chaos. And if you're smart, hungry, and you're motivated, you can do this. One thing that I will say is that if you've got any more questions, you're more than welcome to give me a quick call. And the good thing with doing a webinar during the day is that I can actually take some calls this morning. So if you'd like to give me a quick call, you're more than welcome to. Alternatively, send me an email, which is arsh@arshellahi.com, or always find me on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, because it's always good to stay connected. So if you like the thought of that, if you like the thought of any of that, feel free to give me a call. And then finally, on that note, like I said, someone's just put, can we put the link back up? Like, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. It's Sunday morning. Hopefully that's give you some thought for the rest of Sunday. Enjoy the week ahead, and no doubt I will speak to quite a few of you very soon. Take care. Have a weekend.